Hey, and welcome today to Ask a House Cleaner. I'm super excited that you guys are joining me today. And today I've got a really fun show planned. I've got Sean O'Rourke with me here, and he is the National Marketing Director of Floor Coverings International. And he's going to give us all the deets about how to clean floors properly. And I know we get lots of questions from you guys about cleaning floors. What are the do's? What are the don'ts? How does it work? All the things. So I'm really, really excited to have him here today to join us. So please help me welcome Sean O'Rourke.
Well, hello, Angela.
Well, hey there. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome.
So, what is the difference between luxury vinyl plank then and just regular vinyl, like the old kind that just rolled out on a sheet?
Well, sheet vinyl, which came in a 12-foot roll, that was very popular in the 70s and 80s and probably all the way through the 90s as well. But I will tell you, just based on the proportion of what is sold today, it's down in very small single digits. And sometimes it's done in maybe in lower cost housing or apartment buildings. So it is highly unusual for single family or townhomes to put sheet vinyl in. So if it's been installed in the last 10 years, probably very unlikely it's a sheet vinyl. And obviously, if it's a sheet, it's a 12-foot roll. So if your room's less than 12 feet, there's no seams. And it's actually a flooring that is very suitable, extremely easy to maintain. But unfortunately, today, what has happened in the industry, there's fewer and fewer installers can install that today. So more than likely, if there's somebody listening here and they've gotten a vinyl floor in the last 10 years, I'm going to probably bet it's a plank or tile type. But as far as the finish on the surface, typically the finish is not different. So basically, how you would maintain those vinyls, whether it be sheet, plank, or tile, typically you would use exactly the same product.
That's my next question then. How do we maintain that?
Okay. Well, this is true of all flooring, and you might hear me repeat this again. A couple best things you can do is obviously not take the dirt into your home to begin with. So that involves having an outdoor mat and then perhaps an indoor mat. And if you've got a covered porch, I am a big fan of the microfiber mats because they will remove the dirt and they will remove the wet, sticky stuff off your feet. So don't take the dirt into your home to begin with. And that's true of all flooring. And then just, obviously everybody leads very busy lives today. So maybe we don't have time to get the mop out or get the spray bottle out, but regular vacuuming, either with like one of those Dyson hard surface vacuums, it's got the soft roller. So as long as you're keeping the dirt off the floor, and then again, this is true of every floor, that will go a long way to keeping your floor looking new. So hard surface vacuuming or even dry Swiffer, which only takes minutes or seconds to do the areas you're typically working in, around the kitchen and the entranceway. So those would be the fast ways to maintain your floor. And then obviously on that weekend, when you have a little bit more time, it's really that time to get out the Swiffer type. And there's many types out there that they have a cartridge and it's preloaded and it has a trigger gun. So those are an excellent quick way to clean floors. There's one from Armstrong called Once and Done that has been on the market probably 30 years or more. They're still making it.
Do you love it?
Yeah, it has been in the industry for 30 years. It's called Once and Done. Comes in a quart bottle. It's probably, I don't know, maybe $7, $8, super inexpensive. But again, if you go to the floor covering section, there's lots of products. Rejuvenate, they have dedicated hard surface and vinyl cleaners. They're pre-mixed. Some of them come in a spray bottle, which is very handy. Some come in just a regular quart size bottle, and you have to sort of put it into either a spritzer bottle. And I would recommend really more than anything, I don't think anybody wants to be using the bucket and mop type thing anymore.
Mhm.
So the spray bottles with a Swiffer type mop is really good. And then they're obviously Swiffer and some of the other brands out there. There's a company called Bona, Bona. They have cleaning mops with cartridges where you plug the cartridge in and it has a trigger gun. And those are super easy to use because you're always applying the right amount of cleaner and you don't have to wring anything out. You don't have to be ambidextrous and have three hands. So they are really an excellent way to clean your floors.
Can we talk about those mop buckets for a minute? Because when
Mhm.
I started my cleaning business back in 1988, that's the way that my grandmother cleaned, and that's the way that I was taught. And at the time, I hate to admit this, and I'm embarrassed, you guys, for everybody that's watching, you're going to go, oh, we dipped the mop inside the mop bucket. We wringed it out, and it was a string mop, and we mopped the floor, and then we dumped it back in the bucket, and we wet the mop again in the same dirty mop water that we just put the mop in, and then we wringed it out again, and we kept mopping the floor. So we were literally spreading dirt around. And one of the reasons in the last 15 years we've really gotten away from mop buckets altogether is for that very reason.
Yeah, yeah, good
There
point.
are some new mop buckets on the market that have 2 compartments. One has clean water and one has dirty water, but we still run the risk of too much water on the floor when the mop is not wringed out properly. Can you tell us a little bit about having too much water on the floor when you mop?
Yeah, that can be, I say, too much of anything is really a bad thing. And water is particularly bad, obviously, on hardwood floors and laminate floors. So there's where you can really start to create damage, particularly solid wood, because obviously solid wood, if it gets wet, it's going to want to expand and all sorts of things will happen. Laminate floors, and again, that there's kind of like a dividing line to laminate floors. Most laminate floors today are topically waterproof. So they actually can take a fair amount of water. I shouldn't say water, but certainly a wet mop. But if you have the older style and you get a traditional laminate wet, it's not going to like that either. Typically, vinyl flooring, because it's plastic and most of them are waterproof, there's no real detrimental effect to making them too wet. But certainly, then, if they're too wet, if they're not then buff dried, you're going to get streaks, of course. So certainly the mop method is not ideal. Granted, there are some new fancy mops that can do a very good job, but more and more, I really recommend the preloaded cartridges or the spritz bottle with a swifter type. Again, if you're doing a commercial area, I would say maybe the bucket maybe has more of an application because you're going to have to do larger areas. But typically, if you're just doing a kitchen living room, you probably don't need to be getting the bucket and mop out.
I'm so glad you said that. I know lots of us are moving to the steamers, which we're using as a dry mop, not even plugging it in, but using the handle because the handle's easy to use. It's a lot like those spritzer mops that you're mentioning, and using like a dry microfiber mop pad on it so we can do dry mopping, dry dust mopping, and then wetting just the mop pad, not using the steam or anything, but just using the mop pad as damp so that we can use it as a wet mop because it's a flat surface and it's easy to use. And then on those ceramic and tile floors, using the actual steam itself if need be around toilets and things where there's,
Yeah, certainly that would
needs.
be around tile. I would say use all the steam you want because you're not going to harm anything. And certainly what you just described with the dry mop head, certainly, yeah, absolutely, that would be recommended really for any hard surface.
Tell us about ceramic and stone because we've got 2 different kinds of flooring there, and we're seeing a lot of stone, and we got lots of stuff on it, and homeowners and house cleaners are wigging out because when you damage stone, it's very expensive.
That is the category that probably challenges people the most. And I will tell you, just Angela, like I said, there's great facsimiles out there. Some of the porcelain tiles can mimic limestone and granite and marble, and you literally can't tell the difference. So more and more new product is going that direction just simply because it's super easy to maintain. But if you happen to have a natural stone installed, and again, all natural stone isn't maintained the same way, but typically you're going to want to use a neutral pH balance cleaner because obviously some limestones and marble can adversely react if you use a harsh cleaner. It can literally stain them. So yes, when you've got a natural stone, you have to be that much more careful on what you're using. And there's lots of good products out there in the market. There's a company called Black Diamond. They have like a 1 gallon, and it actually comes in quarts and 1 gallons. It's a marble, stone, and tile cleaner. I think they sell it in a premix version and a concentrate. And then obviously my advice would be make sure you follow the directions on the concentrates because again, if you dilute them too much or not enough, you're going to have an adverse effect.
Sean, where can our listeners go to find you?
Well, certainly we know where to find everything today is go onto Google and just put in flooring near you. We usually come up, but certainly www.floorcoveringsinternational.com, and that will send you to the nearest franchisee.
Thank you so much, you guys, for today. This was awesome. And until we see you again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.